G'day community, welcome to another hobby vlog, and it's been a little while since I dropped in and did a video, and that's largely because from a production point of view there hasn't been a lot of hobby in the last almost 3 months. There's a couple of reasons for that. One, and I stress that this isn't serious, I'm not asking for attention, it's just an FYI. I was in and out of hospital a couple of times. Had a couple of little surgeries. Everything's okay. We're all fine. But it did make the drive to hobby disappear. But an even bigger and more important reason, and in fact quite a few things have happened since we last spoke. I got engaged, which was amazing. That was a lot of fun. Recommend. And then I headed off with my fiance to Europe. And that took up a whole month on its own. And there was quite a lot of hobby adjacent content on that trip and subsequently since returning. So we headed off to Europe. We started in London. I visited several Games Workshop stores just to see what it's like. I wanted to say Games Workshop shops, but that sounds a bit weird. Went to Italy, Lake Como for my friend's wedding, had an amazing time, was just beautiful and wonderful before jet setting up to Scotland, where I met internet friend and all-round YouTube legend Jmacc from Jmacc's Middle-earth Armies. Oh, I might have butchered the name, but Jmacc and all the details I'm linking below and are on the screen, and here's an unsolicited photo of him with his giant rabbit because I didn't think to get any photos or videos, but I spent a couple of nights with him and his wife and my fiance. We had dinner and we had a lot of beers and we really enjoyed Wetherspoons, where drinks are like $3 Australian, which is unheard of. I mean like a pint, which is crazy. Now, that's tangentially hobby related because I wouldn't have thought to ask Jmacc if he wanted to have dinner or drinks or whatever if I didn't watch his YouTube channels, which of course is driven by hobby. But to be honest, we didn't really talk about hobby. We didn't really talk about hobby at all. But when I did talk to people about hobby, it was when we left Scotland, went to Nottingham, and I got to visit Warlord Games HQ and Warhammer World, which is something I've been literally thinking about for years and years and years and years and years and years, and we finally, in real life, actually got to achieve it. So I'm just going to read my diary entry from that day, and I'll play overlay, and I'm sure you're seeing stuff. 7th of the 7th, 24. Today was awesome. First, I went to Warlord Games and learnt about their different games. Grabbed some Napoleonics. 125 Napoleonics is too many Napoleonics. It's more than I probably will ever even build. But you know what? I endeavoured to do it. Walked around the corner to Warhammer World, where my friend Andrew, aka Beard Clipper, who's a lovely guy who does videos, multiple videos every single week, almost does daily videos. Beard Clipper from Bulgaria, and his friend Ben. We met for lunch. The theme to Bar Bergman's is really cool, but I didn't love the food. I didn't love the food. I heard good things about it, but I didn't love it. Then we played what was essentially my first game of Middle-earth strategy battle game. I haven't played in literally 10 to 15 to maybe longer years. We did a 3-player heirloom match, and the guys let me win. They let me win. To be clear, they just played while I learnt the rules in the corner, and I happened to win by holding the heirloom. They let me win. I played Farharad. The camels were awesome, while Andrew played Corsairs and Ben played Lake Town. After the break, we went through the exhibition. I've never seen more expertly painted models in one place. It was inspiring and overwhelming, and honestly, you could spend an entire day just in the exhibition looking at all the models that are there on display. It was inspiring, but as I said, overwhelming. To wrap up the day, we played another quick death match, and I think I was winning before the gaming room got shut down, but again, I was just kind of hanging out, and they were kind of letting me win. Ben was setting up charges for me and stuff, basically allowing me to kill his army, so I got a feel of the game, and it did inspire me. It was amazing to finally meet someone who I've essentially been internet friends with for several years now. Ben was great and friendly as well. Now let's head to the desk and take a look at what I've painted over this brief period of inspiration outside of being overseas and not having time. So the first model, in fact, both models are Lurtz from Lord of the Rings. This is the classic Lurtz that everybody has. Came with the magazines back in the 2000s. And this is the Ambush at Amon Hen Lurtz. And I painted them at the same time using Planet Mithril painting guides. Maybe a little bit darker, slightly darker than his painting guides in terms of the tone, but I think the look and the feel is really, really strong on the two of them. Basing was pretty simple, but I am very happy with the leaves. I used the Green Stuff World leaf punch, which punches out the shape of the leaves, and instead of using, I don't know, I guess parchment or paper that I'd stained, I actually used real leaves and put a hell of a lot of varnish on them, and for now they are holding up. So they're two finished models that I'm really happy with, and looking at them again, having not seen them for a while, I think they're pretty solid. I did have a lot of fun. I painted them in from memory a night or maybe 2 painting sessions, so very happy with them. A couple other models I want to show off. These aren't painted, but, and they might just look like little simple dwarves, but they're these fantastic sculpts of Lord of the Rings style dwarves cast in metal made by Medbury Miniatures. Now I met the guy, and now I'm blanking on his name, but I met the guy who I was very shocked to find designed, sculpted, cast, and sells these for Medbury Miniatures. I'd always heard about Medbury Miniatures and assumed that it was this big sort of company, and I think from what I gather there's 2 full-time employees, him and his wife, and then 1 part-time employee. But I'm going to paint those up at some stage this year, and we'll put them in the rest of my dwarf army, which you would have seen if you watched the last video all those months ago. But shout out to Medbury Miniatures. Didn't realise that they had miniatures in metal. I just assumed they were all 3D prints. I will be ordering because some of those sculpts are wonderful. And finally, we get on to what I spent a reasonable... Actually, you know what? It was an unreasonable amount of time. It was too much time on. Are these 4 Wildling Dunland miniatures. So I got these from Warhammer World, which I'm sure I've explained in an earlier clip. And I was going to speed paint them using Jmacc speed paint recipes, and instead I spent several hours on each of these models, and I think they look fantastic. I haven't settled on a base scheme, that's why I haven't done it yet, and I think they look fantastic now that I'm looking at them, but for the time that I put in, I don't know if it was worth it, because I've got another sort of 30 miniatures to go in this army, which, by the way, shout out to me buying Dunland, because I thought that it was an army that not many people really used. It was a bit of an army that was a bit obscure. It was all metal. I was very excited for it. I purchased it. I came home, and now the rumours, which have all been accurate so far, are that they're going to make plastic updated versions of all these models. So I guess it's slightly annoying, but on the flip side, all it means is I will be able to add more models to this army come the end of the year. So I'm not unhappy with them. In fact, I think they look quite good, but I did have a horrendous time painting them. I did not have fun. I can't tell you specifically why. I just didn't have fun, and I spent a long time on them. But ultimately, if I can get through the rest, it will be a beautiful looking army. So what else have I been doing paint-wise? Well, not a lot. I've only done a couple more models. So these are my Dunlending Warriors, and in fact they're not even finished. I've only done the metal, couple of small colours, and the skin. Again, probably spending too much time on these for the return on effort, but it is enjoyable and it is something that brings me great satisfaction at the end of it, not in the middle of it like we are now. So I'll continue with these, and next time we get an update, at least these 6 will be painted. I presume more will be painted, but at least these 6 will be finished. So that's what I've painted in the last few months. Not much at all, but I have, other than the travel stuff, I've actually been doing hobby-related things that I set goals for at the start of the year. It's actually been really fun. You'll notice that I'm in a new room, and there's video of me painting in a new setup. A new desk will come and replace my janky setup that I have now. But that, spending a weekend moving everything and rearranging and getting more light and more space, that's hobby-related. That's still a hobby. I've been playing the One Ring RPG. I've been game mastering, dungeon mastering, whatever you want to call it, lore mastering an intro session where we went through pre-made adventures, and now we're up to our own adventures with a group of my really good friends. I've been playing Blood Bowl with Bryn and Darcy. And Bryn is someone who I went to high school with and have always been friends with, but we didn't have a lot of reasons to catch up. We both have families or lives or jobs or whatever. And now we catch up regularly to play Blood Bowl. And it's amazing. And I always lose, but that's fine because it's fun. On the weekend, I went with a friend of mine, Jeremy, to the Nuttawading Wargaming group event expo in Box Hill in Victoria. I got to see a lot of amazing games and a lot of amazing miniatures, and that's where I saw Medbury miniatures and got to play Dead Man's Hand and a game called Tribal, a small game called Tribal. We played the Gladiator supplement, and all of a sudden I'm like, oh, I've learned how to play this game in 5 minutes, both of them, and they're played with decks of cards and a couple of dice for one of them and just completely decks of cards for the other. Oh, wait, maybe tabletop gaming's not that scary. Maybe it's actually something that I enjoy. So I think we might be entering my tabletop era, where I was once a hobbyist. I still am a hobbyist and a painter and a collector. That is number one. But I think there's a world where the tabletop playing of games is maybe slowly becomes my focus. I don't know if we film that, I think I just experience it, and probably happens towards the end of the year when the new Middle-earth game rules, profiles, whatever it's called, edition drops. But all of a sudden, it's like from spending, 2 days in Europe playing games, all of a sudden, oh my goodness, this thing that was scary for me the whole time is actually a great opportunity to enhance my enjoyment of this hobby. So that's all. I'm back. I'd be lying if I said I'm feeling positive. I'm not feeling good. I'm feeling positive, though. And shout out to you, Pommy, because you kicked my ass into actually making this video.